Voila! Here's our little angel descended from above. Today we're going to be sharing with you our birth story. Particularly my wife will be sharing the emotional process, I guess.
At about 38 weeks, so this is just giving some context, I sort of had a feeling that I was going to be going into labour soon because I was having a lot of lower back pressure, like really a lot of pressure in my lower back. And I was also pretty irritable at you, I remember. Do you remember? I was really moody, just unusually moody and irritable.
Yeah, I think it was like little things, wasn't it? It was doing the dishes, it was the menial tasks, wasn't it? Like the stuff that you don't normally get triggered at.
Yeah, and it felt really hard to control that. Like it just felt like just so much. And then I remember feeling a bit crampy as well, and I just felt this urge to stay home. I didn't want to go out anywhere. I stopped working out. I just had this urge to stay home and nest. At 39 weeks on the dot, I went into labour. I was lying in bed, just sort of distracting myself, playing, what was that word game on my iPad or something? And then I felt this pop, like a real pop, sort of in my lower pelvic area. And I was like, oh, that's strange. Like, what was that? Was that the baby? Like, it's just a pop. And then about 30 seconds later, I felt this gush of water come out. And it was such good timing because you had literally just come back from the grocery shop, hadn't you?
I did go away, yeah. So that was a shock. Yeah. And there's a flood of slight excitement. Of course, there's a mingle of anxiety as well. But it was quite exciting at that point because it was like, you were waiting for it to come. I think you were just like anxious at everything to come, but you were also just wanting the confirmation.
So I know every woman's, some women's waters don't break till they have contractions, but for me, my waters broke first, and it wasn't just a little trickle, it was a big gush like in the movies. So that was obvious that it was starting. So then I got into the toilet real quick because it was just water coming out and out.
Jazzy's water is broken. How you feeling, my love?
Bit shaky.
Yeah.
Excited, but shaky.
Take the first trip indoors. I went off on a supermarket shop, just come back in just in time. And they've told us to go in because Jazzy's leaking. So fingers crossed this happens. This is it.
You could definitely tell it wasn't pee because with pee, you can hold it in. You can control it. But when your waters break, you cannot control it.
I remember you coming off the toilet, going over to the sink. And then within a second, you were like, no, hop back onto that potty. Yeah, I remember that. I had to have a mop ready. So I do remember a week before you going into labour, I popped my hamstring and I just couldn't play football. And your dad just went, because he's had you and your sister, he went, don't worry, Josh, you're going to expect a baby very soon. He said you're going to have no time for sport anyway. So he foresaw your dips in energy, your low mood, your tiredness and stuff like that. He knew, and your mum knew.
My mum
it was
knew
very,
as well.
very close to coming. Right?
Yeah. And I always just somehow knew that I would go into labour before 40 weeks as well, before my quote-unquote due date, which I don't believe in due date. So then I called the hospital because they tell you that if your waters break, call them up immediately to get an assessment. And I went with the public maternity system, by the way, here in Melbourne in Australia, and I have to say it's been really, really good. I felt really taken care of, like such great service really for a public system. And then the lady on the other end, she was just asking a few questions, and then she said, hey, come in, we'll get you assessed. We packed up our bags. My hospital bag was already prepped, so definitely prep your hospital bag.
We checked in. That was at the initial contractions, right? So that was the ones that were like, not just the water broke, right?
Yeah, it was just my waters, So
contractions hadn't started by that point, but we rushed you in. It was quite relaxed at this point. We knew that it wasn't too serious at this point, and we got a check in with one of the midwives who came to see you, and she was to expect you the next morning, wasn't she? Oh no, she gave you a deadline, didn't she?
Yeah, basically they booked me in for 48 hours from that point. If my contractions still hadn't started, then they were going to induce me, which was definitely something I wanted to avoid and not do. Sometimes it is necessary for medical reasons, but You know, they gave me 48 hours. It was still an option, but of course, if your contractions don't start for about 2 days after your water breaks, then, you know, your baby could get infections and things like that. So then I just got assessed. They put like heartbeat monitors or something on my belly just to check that her heartbeat was all right.
How are you feeling, my love? Pregnancy diaries. Heavy sigh.
And then after a certain amount of time, like a certain number of movements I felt, which every time I felt a movement, I clicked something. They monitored that, and then it was all good. Probably we were there for about an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, quite a brief.
Yeah. And then they send us home because they only really want you to in the birth suite when your contractions are like 3 minutes apart, when you're about to really go into that transition phase. We went home.
And fast forward, I think you were getting, and then your real contractions came in, didn't it? And you were just using your app to track between the duration of which the contraction is, so the pain in which you're in, and then the duration between the contractions, isn't it?
We came back, basically. I went back to my bed and was playing my word game to distract myself once again. A few hours later, I started feeling real contractions, and something I was a bit worried about initially was, like, what if I can't tell the difference between a Braxton Hicks and a contraction? And yeah, the midwives and doctors were always saying, like, you will know. And yeah, I knew because it felt different. For me, my Braxton Hicks were, you know, always at the front of my belly. As you may know, if you've been pregnant before, your belly gets really tight. But my contractions were happening in my lower back.
Oh yeah, that was when
it was like period pain, but getting worse and worse. So it started off okay. I was like, yeah, this is doable. This is all right if this is what contractions are like. But of course that was just the start of it, and we'll get to it. But it got, I don't want to say worse. It got stronger and stronger, that's for sure. And I was still lying down on the bed, and that's really the position that I wanted to be in. I had an app. I started tracking the timings between contractions and how long they lasted. So at first there were it was about like 10-15 minutes between each contraction, and then a few hours in, which really flew by to me. It was really quite quick. It got to about 5 minutes between contractions by about 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Is that what I wrote? Yeah. I wrote my whole... I think it was like 2 days after giving birth, I was like, I need to write down my story. So luckily
it's a factual mind you are, my love. Well, so we were just getting ready, just winding down for a normal evening. We were like, yeah, this could come anytime tomorrow. Like, so we were actually expecting the whole 24 hours to pass. It came along fast, and strangely at that night time when we were winding down. So yeah, I guess it all just went from 0 to 100 real quick, didn't it? So you were coming onto the toilet. I think you were getting more broken waters, weren't you, at this point? Gushing a little heavier.
No, it got less and less. So I had the big gush at the start, and then as contractions came later on that night, like my waters, you know, a lot of it had already come out.
Just the contractions were getting stronger. That was what it was. So at that point,
yeah.
there was a point when we were about to leave. Okay, we've gotten that magic 3 minutes, and we were in the kitchen here. You were just grabbing onto me. I just know that you're using me as a stress ball or some kind of like, distraction, I think.
Yeah.
This brave lady here, contracting away. She's got it. I think we're at 4 minutes, 1 minute contractions, 4 minute intervals.
Should we wait a few more?
Yeah, maybe.
It was like 2, 3.
Yeah. Doing really well. Okay, a bit longer. And that was quite okay. I started to slightly panic because let's get you in, phone them up. They said this is very normal.
Yeah, we got to the birth suite. It was about 1 a.m. by this point, and my contractions were getting stronger and stronger, or surges. I was trying to say surges to myself. I started letting out noise, and I'm someone that I'm not the most vocal person. And this is a whole other thing I'll mention more at the end, but I started making more noises because
just like swearing in it is cathartic.
I didn't swear. No, I actually
didn't swear. We'll get to that.
But just I needed to make sound because it's the only thing you can do when these surges come. So with a contraction, it's like a wave. It starts and then you know you're going to hit a peak and then you know it's going to stop again. And so in that minute when it lasts, you're so in your body and you know it's going to pass, but you need to like make a noise just to cope. So we drove to the hospital. I was contracting in the car. We got there, somehow walked all that way to the birth suite, got checked in.
I remember us in the waiting room and we needed extra towels. I had to request, I was like, guys, we're going to need to pad the floor because you were starting to...
That was the first time we went in when my waters broke.
Oh, that was the waters breaking. I'm getting mixed up. See, I'm jumbling it up. See, this is why we've got a second brain right here.
Yeah, we checked into the birth suite, which is a private room you get in the hospital. And then we met my midwife. Well, we had we had a midwife and then another in training. She was really, really lovely, really great. Really nice. She was there with me. And then, thankfully we had gotten to the hospital at that point because when I checked into the birth suite, my surges just started getting really strong, like really close together, like 1-2 minutes apart. And the pain was getting really unbearable at this point. I didn't know what to expect.
It was really funny.
When you've never given birth before, you don't know what to expect. And it was really getting unbearable at this point.
What was really funny at this moment, I'll switch it over because I think I'm talking on this side. What was really funny at this moment is that we walked into a very zen state labour room. They had dim lights, a couple of glowing lava lamps. And the midwife goes, yeah, put on your favourite tunes on Spotify, make the vibe. At this point, Chaz is actually in agony on the bed. I was looking through the phone. Earth, Wind, Fire, that. Who do you normally like? Heaven by the Boyce Avenue or something. No, it's just going to destroy the meaning of that song. So I was like, that's out of the window. Because at that point you were in pain. It was every minute.
I didn't care about music. No. It really wouldn't have made a difference to me, really. So, but that's just my personal experience because it was really getting unbearable each contraction. And I thought I had a high pain tolerance. I think I do, but yeah, it humbles you, these contractions. Mm-hmm. I was just labouring away, a few hours passed. I was lying down on the bed as well. My plan was to have a water birth because I had that facility there. And the thing is, you can plan how you want your birth to go, but then when you're there in the moment, all my body wanted to do was lie down on the bed. I did not want to be in any other position. I didn't want to be on all fours. I just wanted to lie on my back. And when I was doing research about birth, I'd heard that, it's not good to be on your back, things like that, but that's what my body wanted to do. So it's really important when you're in the moment just to let your body do its thing. Your body will tell you.
I had never seen you vocalize, again to get to that point, vocalize ever in my life like that. So you're a typical internalizer, and so this externalizing was just seeing you yelling. And I just try and do it. Go on, give a go. I think it was let me try. I think it was like a pterodactyl. It was only for a little while, and then I just knew it was a pattern. It was a definitely waving pattern. So I knew when it was coming, when to rub your back, when to hold your hand, and affirmed you as best as I could through it, couldn't I? But I felt so helpless because I could see you in pain. I wanted to halve the pain.
But you were really helpful because you were massaging my back when the contractions came, which was really, really helpful. And also you were telling some affirmations to me, something, I forgot exactly what you said, but I did really try to let that just listen to that and repeat that to myself, and that was really helpful.
Like mantras, yeah.
Yeah. I was grabbing onto your hand a lot, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess I did a brief research on hypnobirthing. I tried to incorporate some of those things. That was touch, affirmations, breath. There's the top 3 really for me. And that sort of did help, didn't it? As best you could get. You did do an inductionless birth as well, didn't you? You did what's the word for epiduralless birth? Unmedicated birth. But you did have the laughing gas, which we'll get to in a second, which was hilarious.
So by this point, a few hours in, they gave me some gas. Well, I was like, okay, give me some gas. And by the way, they were really, really great because I was never forced to do anything. You know, it was always on my terms. They listened to my preferences. So they were like, would you like some gas? I was like, okay, let's give that a try. So I started gas. At first, I didn't feel like it was doing much. It was somewhat helpful. Then soon, it was still dawn at this point. Then my body went into transition and I suddenly felt the urge to push. And I didn't know this. When you're giving birth, like your body will tell you when to push. That was really interesting for me. I was like, oh, like my body's just doing it. I didn't need to really do it at a specific time. Your body just tells you. So then I started feeling the urge to push.
How dilated were you at this point?
I think I was about 8 centimeters.
Okay, we fast forwarded now. Right, yeah.
It was about 8 centimeters and the pain was getting so unbearable that I was starting to beg the midwives for an epidural.
Yeah, you were going, epidural? Like this, obviously under the influence, this is not normally you. It's very funny as it kind of gets. Yeah, you were like, I just want to die or something. I feel like I'm going to die. Yeah. That's it. I feel like I'm going to die. And I remember giving you mantras. We're in Thailand, my love. We're in Thailand. And you were like, Thailand.
That was after.
Oh, that was after. Okay.
You keep skipping forwards.
I made
notes for this reason.
I'm getting chronology wrong. I knew you were out of it. So they turned up the gas very strong at this point.
That was the stitches. You keep fast forwarding.
No, she did. Yeah. She bamped you up. She ramped you right up. Yeah, and the pushing.
Stitches was the highest.
Was it?
Yeah.
But she ramped you up to the pushing. She did, because I saw her. So you were out of it, my love. You were out. Yeah, see? So the supervisor came in, very experienced lady, didn't she, at this point? She was making notes on the labour. And this is where they started to see the head, didn't we? First sight of the head at 8 centimetres.
I think so. But I was like begging for an epidural and my plan was that I wanted an unmedicated birth. You know, I really wanted to go through with it. You knew how much I wanted a natural birth. But at that point, like it was so unbearable. The only way I can describe it is it felt like my body was being torn in half from the inside out. It was nothing like I'd ever experienced. And I really hope I'm not scaring anyone who's about to give birth or wants to have a baby. And then that is what it is as
like a ciabatta bread.
And you will get through it because, hey, I got through it, right? But in that moment, I felt like I was going to die. I never, ever felt that sort of pain before. And I was begging for an epidural, but they were like, hey, let's check how far along you are because, you know, if the head's about to come out, there's no point to get an epidural. It takes time to set in. And also you need to be really still for an epidural because they're inserting a needle into your spine. And there was no way I could be still at that point. I was just moving around. I could not have sat still. So they checked me. I was about 8 centimeters. And
they asked me. I put my foot down. I was like, I knew I'm your voice of reason because you were totally out of it. So I said to them, please, no epidural. Like, let's do our thing. And they looked at me and went, it's okay. She's 8 centimeters. Yeah. We're all right.
They were sort of encouraging natural anyways. Yeah, they were encouraging that. So then I felt another urge to push, and that's when they were like, the head, like they could start seeing the head.
Yeah, that was cool.
In that moment, I just felt, I was still in pain, of course, but I felt such a relief because I knew that it was coming to an end. And then all I remember from that point is it was about 15 minutes of pushing really from when they saw the head, and I think you saw it at some point. I
did a sort of this slight sack. Yeah, you can see it's sort of this very wet, very of course wet and damp sort of hairs squashed on a little head, and it did look like a little bit like a date, like, you know, like a date fruit. That was a good sign, and I try to reassure you that all was okay. The head was in, and I guess at this point you probably thought all of that is for something. Right, you started because your journey is starting to think, oh God, all that pushing.
Yeah, I started to feel really relieved and still in pain, but it just gave me like motivation. I just knew the end was close and I'd be meeting her soon. So they started directing me a bit of when to push as well, while also listening to my body, which I felt really, really helpful. And then yeah, at the end it was like she said, you know, give us one last big push, and I started to feel that ring of fire as well. But I have to be honest, it felt obviously painful, but better than the contractions when she was still low in my pelvis, because that was the most unbearable. So I felt it all coming out, of course, and then she came out. One last big push, and she came out. Her whole body just sort of flew out.
Yeah, I mean, they say the head comes out, and then there's an issue with the shoulders sometimes, but she just missiled out, didn't she? A torpedo.
And I was still on my back. I was on my back for the whole time because, as I said, that was what my body wanted. And then, yeah, they placed her right onto my chest. And I put some blankets over us to keep her nice and warm.
Yeah, it was magic.
What do you remember in that moment?
That was a magical moment for me because she come out. That was a torpedo. I didn't really see it fly out, see her fly out, but they popped her on your chest. But that was when I literally saw the entire process of her first eye opening. So her eyes opened for the first time. That was magic. It was like she was closed for so long, and then it was just a little slit of sort of dark blue I saw, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. And she looked up at you, and not long after we got her on the boob, I guess, and it's a bond, and it's so fascinating because she's basically an alien to planet Earth, and she knew exactly where to go, and she's programmed to go to the boob and suck, and she's like so intelligent. It's so intelligent, isn't it?
It was about within half an hour of her being placed onto my chest, she found my boob and wanted to start sucking and get that colostrum. So yeah, that was really amazing, and it just felt so surreal. It was so surreal. It was so surreal, and of course,
very emotional.
I just went through such a hard thing as well. I don't think I was fully on Earth just yet.
You were, yeah.
And so I ended up with 2nd-degree tears. So right after I gave birth, it's probably about maybe half an hour later, the doctor came in to stitch me up. And that's when they got me on more gas. Really high gas.
It was the peak. I don't know if you're familiar with the laughing gas stuff, but it was the scale went right up. It was 10.
And
it was mad.
You said that I was saying things?
Yeah. So you were just like dizzy in your thinking, and like I was like, you're in Thailand, and you're like, Josh, is that you? Like this. You were like, Thailand, yeah. It was just like ditzy, sort of, ditzy blonde kind of talking. Yeah, you didn't swear once in the whole process. It was just like vocals, I think. You just really hit the decibels. I think everyone in that hallway would have heard you. That was it. But
I forgot to add, I was also screaming like, help me, help
me.
Oh
yeah, help me, make it end,
too.
Make it stop. And that was really hard to see actually and witness. But
yeah, then I got the stitches, which was pretty quick, but I did feel it a little bit. It was not nice. And I just didn't want any more pain. Like I was just
you were getting
so
another
done
one.
with the pain. Oh, was I? Oh, yeah.
Like this. Ow! Like a Siberian husky. It was absolutely so funny.
Being high on gas was a really, really strange feeling. Like I just felt like I went to space. My head just went to space, and I couldn't say.
That's the first time for you, isn't it?
I couldn't say what I wanted to say. It was just weird. Yeah, I've never been drunk before. Like I've never done drugs, like nothing like that. So this was a really strange feeling for me. It took me a while to come back down to earth. Then it was time to deliver the placenta, and the midwives gave me an option. They were like, would you like to take the oxytocin needle so it comes out quicker and reduces risk of hemorrhage, or would you like to wait it out and deliver the placenta naturally? And at that point, I think I was just so done with the pain. I could not tolerate anymore. So I was like, let's just do the oxytocin, I deserve it. They gave me the oxytocin, then the placenta came out basically right away after probably like two pushes, and the midwife guided me, so that was really helpful. And with the placenta, we ended up
kept it, didn't we?
I wanted to keep it, and
your dad
gave it to
it.
my dad to bury it under their lemon tree.
Lemon tree, there we go.
Yeah, so it's buried. So that's an idea of what to do with the placenta. I couldn't bear throwing it away or anything, because it's the organ that kept your baby alive for 9 months. Like it's incredible. It's really big as well.
So yeah, cut the cord. It's magic. The whole viewing of the baby is the most magical bit. The cutting the cord is like the bit the man to feel a little bit like he's achieved something in the whole process. We need something, don't we? We need some credit. So, but they're like, it's a bit of dangling calamari is what they called it, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It did feel that way. It's quite gristly as you cut it. But yeah, it took 2 or 3 seconds and looked like a squid.
Oh, by the way, they did wait as well until the blood was transferred to then cut the cords.
Yeah,
I think that was really great as well. The whole service and care from the midwives and the public hospital was really great.
Oh,
like the way they
amazing.
encourage the natural birth and they do the delay cord clamping and immediate like chest to chest was so great, because I was worried that wouldn't happen, but yeah, that was so great.
Head to toe, 10 out of 10. Like the practical advice we were getting from all the midwives, the support head to toe. I think the process was as seamless as it can possibly get.
A bit later on, another one came in and taught me how to latch properly for breastfeeding. That really helped. And yeah, I stayed at the hospital for a night. We could have done 2 nights, but I did one. The midwives are all really, really helpful. Kept checking in on me and just really great. I couldn't speak more highly of it. I was really
It felt like a 5-star hotel, wasn't it? It was like that sort of customer service.
Almost,
with
yeah. Except after the birth suite, which is a private room, you get transferred into a ward which you share with 3 other mums. So you do share, but other than that, it was really great service. You get food delivered and everything. I took a shower. This was about midday now, so I gave birth at dawn, so about midday now. Other than my mum came to visit, and I got to take my first shower, which felt really strange because it was hard to walk straight away, like to get out of the bed and walk. It was quite hard at first, so because I had stitches as well. And then what else?
And that's it. I mean, because she was born at dawn, your grandma made a Chinese name for her, right?
Yeah,
that was lovely.
I can share a Chinese name. It's not legal or anything. It's Xiao Xiao, which means dawn.
Xiao Xiao, very pretty name.
I was named Yang Yang by my grandparents as well, which means ocean, because my parents, my dad's from Poland, my mum's from China, and I was born in Australia. It just sort of, the ocean's apart thing with China, so they named me Ocean, and then they named her Dawn. So I wanted my grandparents to give her a Chinese name. Yeah, my family all came to visit. You video called your family. I stayed one night. The first night was pretty tough because I've never taken care of a baby before, and it was all so new, and I'd just given birth. She was up all night. I got 0 sleep. So that's what made it a bit tough. Also, it's like I just felt this. We said a prayer for her, didn't we, just before you left? So in Australia, in the public hospital, you can't stay overnight. You have to go home, even the partner. So before you left, we said a prayer for her. I just felt I couldn't even describe the sort of love that I already started feeling for her. Just so precious, like.
Yeah, it's a strange feeling, isn't it? It's like it's surreal. It's like you can't believe it's happening to you, especially when you haven't felt it for a long time as well. Like this pure ecstasy. It's almost like that. And it, as other people describe their tales, they're not underestimating it. I think it really is. And we were trying to just cherish that moment get as present as we could, right? We were trying to ritualize it and think, let's ride that wave as long as we can, and really remember it as a really positive experience. And it's really magic. It's a whole new ownership kicks in, doesn't it? It's like we are now responsible for this little bundle, and it's so surreal just to be like, I left as just taking you in as 2, and then I knew that taking you both home will be 2 to 3, but my recount is that I came home, got a really good sleep. I was absolutely out of it because I pulled an all-nighter basically, didn't I? There's actually a couple of photos we could share here of me just absolutely conked out in the morning after labour. I'm surviving on caffeine at this point. And the night sleep was bliss. I think I've never slept so good in my life. I'm sorry.
Because during pregnancy, I kept disturbing you, didn't I? Because I was waking like 5 times every night. I
didn't realise how bad it actually was. Like now I realise we're actually not sleeping together anymore at this point as well, just to save my sanity. And I've noticed my sleep quality has actually gotten better. I hadn't realised until the perspective. But that drive coming back to you in the morning was ecstatic. I remember putting on that song. Don't wanna miss a thing. Every time I close my eyes, I don't wanna fall asleep. 'cause I'm with you, baby. And I don't want to miss a thing. But anyway, that song, butchered it on the way home, on the way to the hospital, sorry. And it was just like, I felt really emotional. Like, I felt like I could just cry, like I really could. And this is why I want to like reframe it for men. It's like I call it meaningful tears. That's what I would say it is. It's not sadness at all. It's like real, like, I think men need to see these tears as meaningful tears. You've got something really meaningful to care about, and it's worth a cry on. The best way I can describe the feeling is watching a sunset go down times 100. It's like that really calm feeling, satisfied feeling, but not that like feeling you get through a roller coaster, that rush, that ecstatic rush. It's kind of like a real blissful feeling. And I came back and I was like really happy, really euphoric. Came back with some coffees and treats in the morning to you. I was really happy.
I was just waiting for you to come. I was, hey, my love.
Hello, darling. Hello, darling.
Yeah, gonna need to feed her soon. I was just waiting for you to come, really. And
you're gorgeous. Let's put that one.
Yeah, put the time in.
This one here.
So you do get 2 nights in the public hospital, but I just wanted to go home the second night. My love. Yeah, we just decided to go home that second night because I really wanted to be with you. Like, I didn't want to be apart again. And then we came home as a family of 3, and that's our birth story.
That's the birth story.
Yeah,
so she's here.
We're at time of recording 6 weeks postpartum now, and things have been just getting better and better each week. I'm getting more sleep now, which has been really great. I got like a 6-hour stretch last night, which
that was that.
Bliss. Like, I woke up feeling like I could conquer Everest, so that was.
That's why we're doing the video, because I don't think you would have.
No.
You weren't capable beforehand, so at least we got got that temporarily.
So we could share more about postpartum if you're interested. But yeah, that's our birth story.
I tell you what, we'll do a Q&A. I reckon let's just open up a Q&A. We'll do loads of quick fire questions of how's new parenting for us, how we're doing it practically. So if you've got any questions, let us know. But yeah, very blessed. I think it's a blessing from above that it was pretty uncomplicated all the way through. The admiration I have for women after the entire experience was just unparalleled. I just respect women who go through it, because it's nothing that I could ever imagine men could handle. There we go.
Super grateful for a smooth and healthy delivery, and she's all healthy and she's so perfect in every way. And
I respect you, my love. You've done a really good job. It's just been fantastic.
Thank you.
And you're taking it like a warrior, because you're doing breastfeeding all the way through. She'll be very grateful for that as time goes.
Super happy to be a mum.
Yeah.
And the family.
Little family, the little Campbell trio, innit? Right, we'll love you and leave you. Subscribe if you haven't already. Comment below if you liked any part of this story, and share your story with us. We'd love to hear it. And we'll see you on the next one.